Hello everyone, this is Amina from the Infor enablement team. This is the second video in our second set of the Mongoose portal series. In this video, we will create the vendor page and the vendor order subform, which will use order data from LN. We will also make changes to the account management form by adding vendor user type. Let's look at our demo. When we log into our portal, depending on our account type, we are taken to either a customer page or a vendor page. So I logged in as Joseph Tran, now I'm logging in as myself, and that's the vendor page. It will contain order information from LN. Just like the customer page, the orders are on the left-hand side and the details are on the right side. So let's start designing. Go into design mode and under form definition copy, set the source to be portal AK_customer page. So that's your customer page that we created in the previous video, and your target is portal AK_vendor page. And now we will design the subform for this page. Open up your vendor orders form. In the previous video, we made a copy of the customer orders form. We're going to make a few changes to the grids and the edit boxes, but mostly the design will stay the same. Click into Flex Layout 1 and change region index 1 to 22 form unit. This will give us more room for the edit boxes. Now click into Flex Layout 2 and we're changing index 0 and index 2 to 8 form unit instead of 3.5. Regenerate your form. And I'm going to delete the old flexes. So I'm deleting that first flex. Hit delete and delete. Draw a flex layout into the first region and add 3 regions. The first region will be of 3.5 form unit and the second region will be of 1 form unit, and the third region will be of 3.5 form unit as well. Set the orientation of region index 0 and 2 to fill, and then hit OK when you're done. Looks like I need to change my design type to vertical box. Repeat this process for the second region and this flex. When you're done, regenerate your form. So now that we have all 4 of our regions, I'm going to draw a flex layout into the first one. Click into that flex and add in about 7 regions. The first region will be of flex 1 set to fill, and the second region is for spacing, 3 form unit, and you don't need to set the orientation. I'm going to alternate between 1 flex and 3 form unit for region index 1, 3, and 5. Everything else is set to 1 flex set to fill. Repeat the same process for the second region. I'm just going to speed through this here. And whenever you're done, just regenerate your form. Now we will build out the last 2 regions. As you can see, the address fields are a little bit bigger. Draw 2 flexes in the bottom region. Click on the flex and we're adding about 5 regions. So that's from index 0 to 4. The first region will be of flex 2 set to fill. So that's the address region. It's going to be a little bit bigger. And then we're doing the same thing as we did with the top 2 regions. We're alternating between 3 form unit and 1 flex. The flex is set to fill. Regenerate your form whenever you're done. Repeat the same process for the 4th region, giving the address field enough room by changing it to flex 2. For each one of the regions we created, we will add a flex for the static and our edit box. So I'm dragging a flex layout component, clicking into it, adding another flex. The first flex will be of 1.5 form unit set to fill. The second region is 2 form unit set to fill. Repeat this process for all of the regions within this flex. Remember to set the design type to vertical box. And when you're done, regenerate your form. Add a static to every region. It will contain the captions for our edit boxes. For every static we added, set the theme class to be black label the justification to be left, and no colon to true. Regenerate your form when you're done. I'm going to set the captions for all of our statics. The first one is vendor name, purchase order number, status, required delivery date, purchase order date, terms, amount, promised delivery date, address 1, city, state, address 2, country, and zip. Regenerate your form. And now I'm adding in our edit boxes. Make sure that region is set to fill for all of our flexes. For all of our date fields, I used a date combo component instead. And regenerate. The vendor page needs to show purchase orders from LN. In the previous video, I showed you how to get customer order data from M3 and bind it to our grids. I've created a different video titled LN Ion Mongoose Integration, where I show you how to get purchase order information using BODs. Follow the instructions within that video to get your data. It will help you create the PO header and PO lines collections, which you will need for this next step. Click on the blue grid, and for primary collection, set the collection to be INNO_PO header. And make sure that the binding type for the grid is set to primary collection as well, and then regenerate. Click on the blue grid again, and we're going to add some columns. Add about 3 columns. For the first column, the caption is PO num. The data source is object.ponum. The second column is bound to the ship to name property, setting the caption as well. And the third column, the caption is status, and the binding type is also status. And regenerate. Click on the second grid. Set the binding type to be subcollection grid. Click on the ellipsis for binding and set the subcollection property to be INNO_PO lines. Hit OK and regenerate. Click on the grid again and we're going to add columns. I'm adding 5 columns. For the first column, the caption is PO num, and within the secondary collection grid, I'm selecting the PO num property. The second one is PO line num. And the third one, or number 2, is PO item. It's bound to just PO item. And the fourth one is quantity, QTY. And the fifth one, extended amount, EXT amount. Hit OK when you're done. Click on the customer order static, and I'm changing the caption to supplier portal. Click on the grid, the secondary collection grid. Under miscellaneous, set no header to true, and stretch columns to true as well, and regenerate. Looks like we're done with this form, and now I'm checking it out in run mode. Clear your cache, and then open the form. So as you can see on the left-hand side, our grid is pulling in data as well as our secondary collection, but the edit boxes are not taking in the data, so we're going to bind them. Go back into design mode, click on the vendor name edit box, set the theme class to Acme edit, and the binding type to be vendor name. The second edit box is PO num for purchase order number. Status is set to status. Required delivery date is a subcollection property from INNO_PO lines, required delivery date. And set those theme classes, all the date fields, set those theme classes to be Acme date combo. Purchase order delivery date is PO date. The terms edit box is set to terms description. Amount is set to extended amount. Promised delivery date is an Acme date combo theme class with promised delivery date property, Acme edit, and then address 1, the city, the state, address to, country, and then finally zip, and regenerate. Let's go back into run mode, clear your cache and reopen your form. And as you can see, as I click on the rows in the left grid, my edit boxes are changing values. The next step is to create a tile for our blue grid. This will be the same tile from customer orders. Go back into design mode, open up form definition copy. For the source, we're going to use the customer orders tile, portal AK underscore customer orders tile, and the target is portal AK underscore vendor orders tile. Hit OK. Once you have your form, under components, select static for, and we're going to delete this one. Hit OK. Click on the details pane, and we're going to change the primary collection for this form. Set it to INNO underscore PO header, and then regenerate. When you reopen the form, you're going to see a few errors. We're going to rebind some of the statics. Static 2 is set to PO num, static 3 is set to PO date, and static 5 is set to status, and then regenerate. Open up the vendor orders form. Click on the blue grid. Set tile when to always, and set the tile form to the form we created, portal AK underscore vendor orders tile, and regenerate. Open up the form in run mode, and this is our last test. It looks like our tiles are showing up, and it's ready to be added to the vendor page form. Go back into design mode and open the form portal AK underscore vendor page. Click in the subform to area, click on the ellipsis for default subform spec, and change the form to vendor orders. Portal AK vendor orders, or you could select it and then hit OK, and then regenerate. We're done with our vendors page. Accounts with a user type of vendor will be able to access this page. We created the account management form in our previous set of videos. We will add a user type to this form. Open your account management form in design mode. I'm going to make a few design changes to the form, like making the edit boxes a little bit bigger and changing the password field, password attribute to true, as well as moving the approve and reject buttons a little bit lower, and then regenerating. I'm adding a drop list component to the form. This drop list component will have the options of customer and vendor. I'm also adding a static. The caption for this static will be user type. And now I'm just realigning the drop list and the static with the rest of the components. You don't have to do this step, but just for consistency, I'm doing it here. And when you're done, regenerate. Click on the drop list component, and under data source for list source, click on the ellipsis and select the type to be inline, and the entries are customer and then vendor. Hit OK, and then regenerate. Go into run mode and clear your cache, then open the account management form. And let's see, our user type, customer, and vendor are there. We will need to add the user type property to our table and our IDO collection. Open up the SQL tables form. Search for the portal AK underscore users form. Open the form and hit columns. Add a new row. And set the column type to be user type. Data type is nvarchar. Set is nullable to true. And set the length to be 50 and then save. Open up your IDO's form. Search for the IDO portal AK users. Hit properties. Add another property. Set the property name to user type and the column name also to user type. And it should fill out everything for you. Set the default value to customer and save. This step is optional. If your properties aren't showing up, you should use the unload farm IDO metadata form to clear the cache. Go back into design mode and For the user type field, set the binding to be object.userType, and then regenerate your form. Go back into run mode. I have 2 user accounts. I will set the second one to customer and the first one to vendor, and hit save. We will also need to make changes to the home page and login form so users with the correct type can access the vendor's page. So I'm opening up my login form, open form script, and on line 14, we're going to load the property user type, as well as the first name, the last name, and the password. We will extract the value from the user type property and use it in our if statement. So down here, I'm going to create an if statement. Currently, we have this method going straight to the customer page. My if statement will read the user type field, and if it equals vendor, I will generate an event on the parent form that we still have to create, go to vendor page. Else the user will be taken to the customer page. Hit OK and regenerate. Open up the homepage form, and under event handlers, we're going to add a new event, go to vendor page. Set the response type to be go to form, and the form name will be portal ak underscore vendor page. And set variables just as we did with the customer page event. The target variable on the vendor page is going to be var Acme user, and we're setting the value to be of type variable value var Acme user. Save your changes and let's test out our form. Go to the homepage form, log in as one of your users. That's set to vendor, so mine was a Gmail account. And looks like everything is correct. We're at the supplier portal. And it's grabbing my name, my first and last name. So I'm logging out, and now I'm testing out the customer account, which was the Infor account. Logging in, and the customer orders form is displayed properly. Thanks for watching.